Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. So today we are here with one more interview experience. So today I'll be sharing you my interview experience with Honeywell, like what kind of interview process that I have underwent at Honeywell and what kind of interview questions that I have faced in the interview rounds. So personally, I would feel this is one of the best interview process that I have underwent in the recent times, and one of the most technically challenging interview too, especially the hackathon. This was one first such interview that I have ever attended in my entire career. So coming to the interview process, so interview process was like, firstly they have conducted one hackathon, then the people who have cleared hackathon, they were called for two technical rounds, then a manager round, and followed by a HR round. So this was about the interview process at Honeywell. And before getting into the interview questions, I would like to give a quick introduction of ourselves, like who are we and what we do. So we are basically a bunch of software engineers who attend interviews with different MNCs and share our interview experiences through these videos. So if you are on our channel for the first time, you can visit our channel and you can find the interview videos that we have already shared, that you are now seeing on the screen. And if you want to contribute it, you can reach us to the email ID that is mentioned in the description. So if you want to share your experiences, feel free to share, because we feel that it would help someone, at least definitely somewhere, who is looking out for similar kind of videos. So this was about ourselves. So firstly, I would like to talk about the hackathon. Like, what is hackathon? Like, hackathons are the events where people, usually programmers, designers, or business guys, come together as a team and work on a project for 24 hours based on a variety of themes, and then pitch in and present it in front of the panel of judges. So this is the basic definition of hackathon. Now I'm going to tell you like what we have done there. So we were firstly there were few projects or tasks displayed on, and based on the number of we get, like there were a token system that was given. So there were approximately 8 themes or projects, you can say. Those were displayed on the projector. So we were given some number. So based on the number that matches to the question, we need to give a solution for that question. So we were like 5 people in the group with 3 full stack developers, 2 testers, and for 3 teams there was one guide. There was one technical guide, you can say, like he was from Honeywell. So he was helping out how to connect to DBs and all those credentials he was giving us. So our task was to create a hotel reservation system. In the first 45 minutes, we were asked to come up with the architecture of the application. So we were given 45 minutes and we were asked to design the architecture, like the flow basic architecture of the application. Like, so we have created that and showed it up to the mentor. So once he gives the approval, we need to start coding on that. He may cross question us, like why we have created the architecture in that way also. So one key point apart from technical stack they were looking was who is how comfortable you become while working with the new people. All of a sudden we have to work with the new people, so how comfortable you are in working with that. Even that was they were checking at that thing as well. So this process took more than half a day to complete. Like entire hackathon went on for half a day. Later, based on the presentation and your contribution, you were asked questions to come up to the next rounds. One more thing to note is that here one who won the first prize, like they were given prizes, like not prizes exactly, they were picking up the top 3 projects as well. But they were not but the team which won, only two people from that team were called for the next rounds, but we never won, to be honest. We were on the 5th position, I believe. But 4 people from our teams were called, like 3 full stack developers they have called, and 1 tester also they have called for the next round. After that, there were 2 technical rounds where most of the technical questions were asked in round 1 and round 2. And upon clearing that one, uh, we were we were proceeded to the HR round and manager rounds. So basically what task I have picked it here, it was I was working on the UI part of the application. So basically I have uh, written all the code for UI part using Angular. We have created, like there was one more guy also who was helping, and one guy was working completely on the back end. So luckily, we were called, like all the three developers were called for the next round. So this was about the hackathon process that was there. So nextly I would be sharing the interview questions, like technical interview questions that I have underwent here. So coming to the first question, there was a coding question again, like if you see the input, like there were two inputs were given, like he was ready with this question, to be honest. Like a method is there that will accept two parameters, one is string, one is number. So based on the number, the what I can say, the passed input should be rotated. So if you see, Honeywell was the input and one was the one more input. So one character was moved from the end to the front, so it is moving in a circular way. So for that thing I need to be write the code. So coming to the second input, it was the same Honeywell, but this time it was three. So three times it got rotated. So this was about the first question. You can practice it, this type of questions, if you are attending the interviews with Honeywell. Then the next question was like, explain how Singleton works in Spring and how it is different from normal Singleton. So a deep discussion happened on this thing, like why it is behaving differently than normal Spring, what was the need of it, like why is Spring Singleton is different than normal Spring, and entire like in deep discussion needs to be has happened there. So prepare the concept in very deep when you are attending the interview with Honeywell. So the next question is like, how transaction management happens in microservices. So here, to be honest, the discussion went on for like close to 15 to 20 minutes, like how I will design a project where one service is dependent on n number of services, and each service is making a DB call. How you will maintain the transaction management? So what would be the best approach you would follow? So these kind of questions were asked to me. So somehow I was able to give 80 to 90% answer. For that I couldn't give complete answer, because there is no one way where we can how we can manage transaction management in microservices. This is the biggest drawback of microservices as well, you can say. Next question is, what will happen if we don't follow solid principle? So basically, solid principles makes our code more extensible, logical, and easier to read. So if we don't follow solid principles, so we may lose one of these, and which may lead lead to problems in the future. Currently we may not find any issues, but later on when we try to update our project, then we may ended up in with a mess. So the same thing I have explained, and along with that he explained me about each and every principle in the solid principles. So prepare well when you are going to attend the interview. Then the next question was differences between at the rate bean and at the rate component. So what is the basic difference between these two things? So like coming to, at the rate component is a class level annotation, whereas at the rate bean is a method level annotation, and name of the method serves as the bean name. Whereas at the rate component need not to be used with the configuration, like at the rate configuration annotation, whereas at the rate bean annotation has to be used with class which is annotated with at the rate configuration. So these are the basic differences that I have said, but you can have your own answer here. Again, the next question was a technical question here. So basically the expectation was to answer it using Java 8. So there is an input list of employees, and I need to convert that list of employees into a map, and map output format would be the name, and so the scenario is like there can be like employees with the same names as well. So everyone must be grouped into one map object. So that was the requirement. So by using group by function in streams, we can easily achieve it. If you are not aware of it, please Google it, I would say. And the next question was a tricky question, I would say. It took approximately 15 to 20 minutes for me to give the solution. A customer is buying few products at some price. Shopkeeper told he will give some discount, and the discounts was something like this. Like he's buying 4 items, 1 2 3 4, those are the price tags for each item. And for the first item there is no discount. For the second item he would give a discount of the current price minus previous price. And for the third item and the fourth item he will give the discount of the current price minus the least price before to the current price. So this was about the requirement. And if you see, the output of the array 1 2 3 4 is 8. Why? Because firstly for the first item he has not given any discount, so he has to pay 1. For the second item he has given him 1 rupee discount, that is the previous price. So current price minus previous price, 2 minus 1, that is 1. So for the third price he has given the discount of the least price earlier to the third item, so that is 1. 3 minus 1, that is 2. Similarly to the fourth, 4 minus 1 is 3. So that is how this has happened. So these were the questions that were asked to me. Apart from these questions, there is a link in the description where you can find different like common questions that I have encountered also. Basically through this video I wanted to convey the most tricky questions that were asked to me, that I felt that were asked to me in the interview. So I have shared those things. You can follow up that link and you can access to the all the interview questions that I have encountered. So in the next section I will be sharing you like what all Angular interview questions that I have encountered. So first question was like, what are some of the advantages of Angular over other frameworks? So Angular has its own MVC structure, enhanced design is architecture, it follow modular way. So services and dependency injection, custom directives it has, and Angular is verbose and complex. TypeScript like a better coding and cleaner code. So these are the few things that I have explained him. Coming to the next question, explain components, modules and services in Angular. So in detail I have explained him about each of the thing, like what are components, what are modules and what are services, why our application should follow that structure and what will happen if we don't follow that structure. Next question is, what is AOT compilation? What are the advantages of AOT? So basically AOT is nothing but ahead of time compiler, which converts your Angular HTML and TypeScript code in efficient JavaScript code during the build phase. Like during the build phase itself it will convert our HTML code to the JavaScript code. So that is the biggest advantage of this. Like compiling code during the build process provides a faster rendering at the browser. That is one of the advantages that's why we go for AOT. Next is, what are observables different from promises? Like how are observables are different from promises? So promise is always asynchronous, while observable can be either synchronous or asynchronous. A promise can provide a single value, whereas a observable, as the name itself suggests, is a stream of values. We can like apply RxJS operators to an observable to get a new tailored stream. Next question is, what are the different operators provided by observables? So to be honest, I didn't understood the question at once. Later on he gave me some examples, like observables dot filter map, and when he gave me those examples, then I was able to answer this question. If you are not aware of it, Google it, you will get the answer. Next question is, can we make an Angular application to render it on the server side? Yes, of course we can make it. And the question continued like, how can we do that as well? But there are some disadvantages of this. By making it render on the server side, usually we are increasing the load on the browser, which may end it up in slowness of the application itself. So this was about that question. Next question is, how to share data between components in Angular? So there are like three to four ways in which we can share the data between the components here. So basically depending on our requirement, we choose one particular way, like either view child, or like at the rate input, at the rate output, or by using subject and observable concept we can share the data. So these were the questions that were asked to me, in the interview. And coming to the feedback of the interview, it was a very awesome interview, to be honest. I This was one of the first hackathon that I have encountered, that I have went and attended, and it was a nice experience, to be honest. So salary offer was like close to 14.2 or 3 something, so for 14 lakhs package I would say. And experience level of the interview was 5 years, like 5.2 you can say, like 5 point for 5.2 years of experience, 14 point something was offered, which I feel is a very good amount. So that's it from our end. Like, if you have liked the video, please do subscribe, share it, or like it, or comment in the feedback by providing the feedback in the comment section. I will request, like, if you haven't subscribed us yet, please do subscribe and share this video to other technical platforms as well, so that someone who is looking out for similar kind of interview can get benefited. So that's it from our end. Thank you for watching. With this, I'll stop the recording as well.